Good morning. Sorry about that. Still have this annoying upper respiratory thing that just, when I get these, it carries on for weeks. It just doesn't want to go away. But good morning. What am I doing? That's a good question. Right now, it is almost 8 o'clock in the morning here in beautiful Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. And I've been up for probably actually about an hour already. I know I slept in a little bit. Got up at 6:45, so I've been up a little over an hour. I actually have written close to 500 words, 493 exactly, to the new scene, which is now 1,444 words long. I took last night off. I didn't do any writing. I had an experience when I was out at dinner that kind of threw me off a little bit. It didn't get me into a depressed mood, but it just kind of weirded out my mood a bit. So when I got back here, I was like, okay, well, I'll start writing at 8. And then when 8 rolled around, I was like, oh, I'll start writing at 8:30. And I never did actually get around to doing anything, doing any writing. I actually did a few other things, which I don't wish to discuss. Probably best. You probably don't want to hear that stuff. But the scene is progressing well. The chapter is going to be over before I even know it. I actually have a pretty good idea of where this where this scene is actually going to go, and I can probably finish it up in like another 1,000 words or so. So, chapter 5 is almost done, which means we get to chapter 6, and we finally, after what'll probably be it'll probably be over 67 or 68,000 words by the time the kids walk in the front door of the school. Well, actually, they won't walk in the front door of the school. They'll sort of just jaunt in like they did last time. The days of walking in through Founder's Gate, well, you don't really do that anymore. You do that in your A-levels because they want to impress you, but after that, it's just sort of like, it's just like that. It's boring. Oh, man. Sorry about that. Just all sorts of weird things going on. But let me see on chapter 6 here. Let me open it up. Yeah, we actually have two scenes. One is in Paris as they're getting ready to leave. Actually thinking of adding another scene that takes place at the airport. This is actually, the first scene is on their way to the airport, and the second scene is when they're in the aircraft and on the ground. They finally have arrived in Boston. And then the final scene is getting into their respective, getting back to the tower. And then when we get into part 3 in chapter 7, that's when they actually get introduced. They start doing all this stuff with the new B levels. And you're going to actually see the kitchen. The kitchen in the lower level of the I'm blanking, Coven Tower, where they're going to explain how students can actually go down there and cook and do all sorts of weird things. And now I'm really getting into the part where I laid this stuff out, and I have to remember um, what I set out to write. And chapter 8 is going to be interesting because you're going to get to see them in art class for the first time. One of the scenes, after they have a scene where they discuss all the stuff that they're going to be doing for the year, then they'll have a scene where they'll be in art class with Professor Ellison, Matthias Ellison. That's a first. And then the scene after that is the first time they're going to be in Deanna's class. That's going to be fun. And then they're going to show up in sorcery class because they're dark minions. That's the scene name. And then we'll end off, almost end off, the penultimate scene in chapter 8 is Advanced Flight 2. And that's where you're going to, Carrie and Emma are going to compare notes on what happened during their summer vacations. Let's just say Emma had a much better vacation than Carrie. I'm going to lay that out there right now. Yeah, Emma's time at home went much nicer. So, that's going to leave a mark on Carrie. It's just so bad. And then they'll end up at the madness. As always. We always love to end up at the madness. I really have to go over. This is kind of embarrassing because I have one scene here which I'm not really sure what it's supposed to mean. Damn. I've done that before. But, yeah. I've done that before. Where I've done things. Probably what I'll need to do. Oh, I know what that scene is. Because I'm looking at the timestamp. Yes. It's something that Annie's going to do with Helena. Yeah, that's going to be fun. Chapter 9, they're going to get into a lot of special stuff. And then after that, one of the things I need to do, because I haven't done it yet, is I need to really plot out a large part of the novel. I don't even have all of part 4 plotted out. Yeah, I'm really kind of bad about this. I plotted out the first 3 parts, and now I'm at part 4, and part 4 is not going to be for weeks, but still, I'm like, oh my god, I know what's going to happen. I just haven't really done anything. I need to sit down and seriously take a weekend and do this. Usually I'm far more prepared. And I know there's some of you are going to be looking going, Cassie, really? You don't have your novel planned out? Yeah, I got lazy with this one. I really did. A lot of it was due when I really started this up, I was having difficulties with depression. So I still am, but I'm getting much better. But yeah, I need to plot out a lot of stuff, and part 4 is really going to do it. In fact, looking at the end of part 3, there's actually a couple of scenes I need to add in there. It's bigger than it looks. Yeah, and this is probably... I'm actually, I think, more playing with this by feel than anything else. So I'm not gonna say I'm pantsing. I'm not really a pantser because, like I said, I have most of this figured out. But there's, some blanks I gotta fill in here. A lot of blanks, actually. And part four is important. Part four is very important. Part four is going to be a big part. Why? Because it ends Act One. It ends Act One. And then it leads directly into Part 5, which is, believe it or not, the first part, actually, the first whole part of Act 2 is Carrie's transformation and all the stuff that, transition and all the stuff that comes with that. That's going to be interesting. Because I'm wondering how many chapters are actually going to be in that. I got a lot of work to do. I really do. I have a lot of work to do. I got lazy. And I'm getting better, but still, it's just, there's so much work to do. I got lazy. Yes, you can blame me for that. You can blame me for that. So, but what else am I doing today? I have a lot to do today. There is a whole lot of stuff. I didn't get a lot of stuff done last week, and today I actually am getting my nails done. Look at those claws. I'm thinking of going with an orange for fall. Nice orangey color. Look how long they've gotten. There was a time, seriously, if love it. There was a time back about 20 years ago, 30 years ago, even when I was a kid, when I was biting my nails all the time. If you had said, oh, one day you're going to have really long nails, I just said, nah, probably not. It's probably not going to happen. Oh, no. It's happened. I have a black mark on my nail, and I hope that's... It's nothing important. Sorry. Easily distracted here, as you can hear. I'm easily distracted this morning. I'll worry about that later. It's gonna get basically filed off today, and I should have new acrylics put on. So we'll see. Have an acrylic overlay, but we'll see what happens. But I'm going to get my nails done. I have to pick up some clothes that I ordered. I have to buy groceries. Not a lot of groceries because I've been doing a lot of dining out of late. I just haven't felt like cooking and staying in, and I really kind of need that just to get out of the house and do something besides sit around in here, because with winter coming, usually around this time of year, my depression kicks in pretty bad. So far, well, I won't say so far it hasn't, because the last week I spent moping around going, I was in bad shape. So one of the things I've been doing is getting out and going out to eat, just to get out. You really do need to do that, just to be able to associate with people. Even though there are times when I go out and do that sort of stuff, I get really lonely, basically because you're alone in a crowd. That's the thing that kind of drives you crazy, and you don't like that. So I will probably go out to dinner again tonight, then come back here. And that's been affecting my writing a little bit too, because generally speaking, when I'm going out to dinner, I'm having a beverage or two or three, whatever the case may be, when I'm eating. And that kind of, does things as well. The sort of things I won't discuss. But I'm doing my best to become more active and to get out and to do things. It's hard. I find myself actually now kind of like saying, I don't want to go out. I don't want to go shopping. I don't want to do stuff. Yeah, this is not a good time of year for me. I always have problems. Ever since I've moved to Harrisburg, I have always had problems in November, December, and January. It's always just been real tough for me. So I'm working on not letting it get to me this time. I'm also trying to figure out if I want to get another piercing for Christmas, which I've done. My first piercing I got here was, of course, I got my second ear lobe piercing. And then the second piercing I got was, of course, my nose. Yeah, see? Right there. I'm very proud of that. I've had that in for a year now. My little nose bob. Someone told me I should go ahead and get a ring, but I don't want to get a ring for my nose because I have to work with people who already look at me really strange. I'm thinking of getting actually a couple of ear piercings up here where they just put the ring in and leave it in permanently. There was a woman I worked with on the Clinton campaign who had that done. She actually had 3 going up each ear, and I liked how it looked. And she was actually about my age, so it had nothing to do with being young or anything like that. And she told me, you should do the same thing. So I'm seriously thinking about getting a couple of rings put in here on my ear. Yes, I know. That's one of the things I always wanted to do. I know it sounds strange, but always one of the things was I always wanted a nose piercing because I always thought they looked nice on girls and on women, not just girls, but women. And, finally got mine. And now I'm thinking about doing the same thing with my ears. Someone told me, get your belly button pierced, and it's it would get lost down there. Especially with the size of my belly. No, we don't want to do that. I probably could. But not yet. I really need to lose a lot of fat. But I am thinking about doing the ears. And I know I'd go back to the place that I did before and do it. So, they would just be in there permanently. I just have 4 gold earrings put in, 2 on each side. Yeah. No, I'm not going to do my tongue. I know someone who just got their tongue done, and I'm not like, I'm not going to get a stud in my tongue. No. Mm-mm. Uh, One of the things that I talked about on my Facebook page was I ran into a friend who I've known for about a year now. She works in the, let's just say, hospitality business. She is a hostess. She works very hard. She's worked at, like, literally most of the restaurants I know around here. That was where I actually first ran into her, and I've run into her at like two different restaurants, and now I ran into her at a third one I was at the other night. And I was congratulating her on the fact that she's in a new relationship. Yay. Wish some of us could get into a relationship. But anyway, I congratulated that on her. And I told her she has a young daughter, about 8 years old, and I know her daughter's like into fairies and all that other stuff. And I was telling her about these swim fins. They look like, they look like a bathing suit that's a mermaid tail, and it has a mermaid fin on the end of it and everything else. And I said, you should get that for your daughter because she would love it. And she was like, oh yeah, she would go crazy over having a mermaid tail. And then I said, they make this for adults. We could get those in adult sizes. And she was like, oh yeah, that would sound really cool. And there was another server standing by, and she was like, oh yeah, that would be great. That would be a lot of fun. And I said, we should come in here next summer, and we should be wearing our mermaid tails. We should all get mermaid tails and wear them and sit at the bar and drink while we've got our mermaid tails on, and just sit there and keep flapping them up and down and stuff like that. And she was laughing her ass off. And this other woman was also, she was like, oh my God, that would be so cool. Just three drunk mermaids until we got to go, go to the bathroom. And then it's like, how do I walk in this thing? Probably need like to bring a wheelchair so we can wheel ourselves off to the bathroom to go to the bathroom. Oi. Oh, that would be. We would probably get thrown out for that. Yeah, they would be like, you crazy chicks, get out of here. So, but yeah, she wants to do that. She wants to go to a bar wearing a mermaid tail. Yeah, I have to admit that as I've progressed in my transition, I'm starting to do that thing of, wow, if I'd only been a little girl, I could have done all this stuff. And mermaids is one of those things that I've always had an interest in. But, you never talk about that before you transition because it's like, dude, you just get looked at like you're strange. Unlike how after you transition, you sometimes get looked at like you're strange. But yeah, mermaids, that's one of those things that now I kind of look at and it's like, mermaids. I have a thing for them. So, yeah, all that repressed little girly stuff from a long time ago. I had a drink that was basically pink, and a woman I know who she lives with her wife in another state. She was the one I visited down in D.C. A couple of months ago. She was doing lobbying on behalf of the Sierra Club, and she writes and she goes, "God, that's a girly drink." And I said, "Well, of course it's a girly drink. I'm a girl." And she likes to drink Jameson straight. Um, and I said, that's great. I cannot drink whiskey, though. Whiskey, my gag reflexes kick in. They almost always have. I've had some very bad experiences with whiskey that tend to always end in some sort of projectile resurfacing of said fluid. And yeah, I learned my lesson, and so did a bunch of other people one time who kept, when I was like about 21 or 22 years old, they kept badgering me to do a shot of whiskey with them, and I kept saying, "No, guys, I can't drink whiskey. I really can't. It, it makes me throw up." And finally, they got me to do the shot, and I did the shot. Held it down for about 20 seconds, and then vomited on the floor. And then they looked at me like, "Dude, that's so rude." And I almost punched this one guy. I was just like, I sat there and told you for 5 minutes I can't drink whiskey. And you kept insisting. Well, I drank it. That's what happens when I drink whiskey. Now you know. And I just walked away. I did. I was just pissed. And my girlfriend at the time, she's pissed off at me because she thinks I've embarrassed her in front of her friends. And I was like, hey, no means no, You guys kept badgering me, and it went on for like 5 minutes. So I figured I would just show you what's going to happen. Silly people. No means no. Means no in every situation. Not just a few, but every situation. So, no means no. So, I got all that to do today. It's supposed to rain today, but right now it's bright and sunny outside. So we have a parade down here in Harrisburg, so it's just going to be a mess. It will be. So, what can I say? Well, then that means I'm pretty much done talking. Jeez. Everything's going wrong with me today. Coughing, burping, whatever. I may get an excerpt out later this afternoon. I may not. We'll see. Depends. If I do, it'll be late this afternoon. So, where we'll pick up what's going on with the kids at the Eiffel Tower. I think you won't be surprised by what happens, but you never know. Annie and Carrie have sex on the Eiffel Tower. No, they don't. They would never do that. Not until they're married, at least. Oh, those two, once they get married, all that we got to make up for lost time stuff is going to come into play. And those two are just going to be animals. Those little witches are going to have so much fun. It's going to be like, what are you going to do? They're young, they're in love, and they had to go for a long, long time not doing stuff to each other. So they'll make up for it. So I'm going to get going because right now it's edging up on 28 minutes and 20 seconds right there. And I think you've had enough. Yeah. I'll see you around. Bye-bye.